2 Corinthians 6 verse 14 provides guidance for Christians considering marriage, stating,
"Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?"
The passage uses the metaphor of farm animals being yoked together to illustrate the importance of being united with someone of similar spiritual beliefs and goals. It is unwise to be closely connected with someone who does not share one's faith, as it can lead to conflicts and difficulties. 2 Corinthians 6 verses 14 to 15 highlights the importance of being unequally yoked in relation to marriage. The passage states that a believer should not enter a marriage union with an unbeliever, as it can lead to a mismatch. The verse also poses the question, what does a believer have in common with an unbeliever? This implies that being in a relationship with someone who does not share the same beliefs and values can cause conflict and difficulty. In terms of marriage, the passage suggests that it's best for a Christian to marry another Christian to have a closer bond. This means that Christians should not be in a romantic relationship with non-Christians. The reason behind this is that the main purpose of dating is to ultimately lead to marriage. If a Christian marries a non-Christian, it will not be a biblical marriage. Therefore, it is not advisable for a Christian to date a non-Christian. The Bible illustrates through the examples of Samson and King Solomon that when it comes to matters of the heart, it can cloud our judgment and cause us to prioritize our emotions over our commitment to God. For example, in Judges 14 verses 1 to 3,
Samson went down to Timnah and saw there a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, "I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife." His father and mother replied, "Isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives or among all our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife?" But Samson said to his father, "Get her for me. She's the right one for me."
Similarly, in Judges 16 verse 4 says,
Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah.
On the other hand, King Solomon allowed his emotions to lead him into sinful behavior, as 1 Kings 11 verse 4 says,
As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been.
The force of romantic attachment is very powerful, and it can easily make one to ignore the sound judgment and godly commitment, as seen in the life of Samson, who kept falling in love with the wrong women, and King Solomon, who allowed his emotions to lead him into sinful behavior. As stated in 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33,
Bad company corrupts good character.
This verse highlights the fact that being in close association with non-Christians can have a negative impact on our faith. The Bible teaches that light and darkness cannot coexist, and as Christians, we are called to live as children of light, Ephesians 5 verse 8.
For because of such things God's wrath comes on those who are disobedient. Therefore do not be partners with them. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light.
In this context, non-Christians can be considered as darkness and a Christian as light in the Lord. This means that having a romantic relationship with a non-Christian will likely result in different views and beliefs, which could lead to trouble and hinders one's walk with God. While some Christians may engage in missionary dating with the intention of leading a non-Christian to faith in Christ, this approach to dating is not recommended for several reasons. Firstly, it goes against the Bible's teachings in 2 Corinthians 6 verses 14 to 15. A marriage between a Christian and a non-Christian is generally not considered to be in line with obedience to God's will. Secondly, the goal of a dating relationship should not be to convert someone, but rather to build a healthy and loving partnership. Finally, missionary dating can put undue pressure on the relationship and may not lead to a successful outcome. Therefore, it is not advisable to engage in missionary dating. When deciding whether to date a non-Christian, it's not only about the relationship itself but also about the spiritual implications. While it's important to build meaningful friendships with non-believers, it's essential to remember that our most significant relationships should be with other believers. This is because, as Romans 12 verse 5 states,
"So in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others."
it's crucial to consider the impact that a dating relationship with a non-believer may have on our faith and how it can compromise it. In summary, it is important to keep in mind that our spiritual well-being should be a priority when considering dating a non-Christian, and to focus on building relationships with fellow believers.